Part 110. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 1092. Small Village. Night has come and Gongya has prepared dinner. The return of Duguyuking made Li Fan quite happy, but the small courtyard was still a little deserted. It was just him, Duguyuking and Gongya eating together, which was completely incomparable to the time when a whole family was together. However, this was already a good start, and Li Fan also felt a lot of comfort in his heart. Everyone was eating together. Suddenly, Duguyuking picked up a piece of meat and took a bite. However, her tongue suddenly felt numb and she hurriedly put it down and said, "Master, this feels so numb." When Li Fan heard this, he also picked up a piece of meat and tasted it. He also felt a slight numbness on the tip of his tongue and couldn't help but say, "Gongya, did you grind the peppercorns directly into powder after drying them?" Gongya nodded blankly and said, "Yes." Li Fan immediately understood that the peppercorns he grew himself had a very strong numbing smell. Therefore, after drying, there were several special processes. If they were directly made into powder, the numbing smell would be too strong to be eaten. Li Fan smiled and said, "There's something wrong with this peppercorn noodles. I'll teach you how to make it again tomorrow." Hearing this, Gongya looked apologetic and said, "I'm sorry, master, Gongya will cook again." Li Fan said, "It's okay, no need, just give this dish to the dog." Beside the table, the big black dog was eating. After hearing this, the dog's eyes were filled with grievances, but he did not dare to bark at all. As he spoke, Li Fan smiled and said, "Bring me the wine, it's worth a drink today." Immediately, Gongya took out the fine wine Li Fan had collected. "Master, disciple gives you a toast." Duguyuking opened his mouth and said, "If it weren't for you, this disciple might not be able to come back." Li Fan smiled and said, "We are all a family, why bother talking about these things?" The three of them drank together, and Li Fan was in a good mood. The more wine you drink, the smoother it becomes, but you are gradually getting drunk. "Master, you lost the lamp, but there will be no way out." Duguyuking was so drunk that she kept talking. Li Fan lost the lamp of origin. Although he could only accept the reality, he was still very worried in his heart. When Li Fan heard this, he said calmly, "I will find the way. You don't need to worry about it." He didn't believe it anymore. Although his cultivation level was rubbish, his other skills were at least full. He could find a way to make a living by playing music, chess, calligraphy, painting, hunting, and cooking, no matter what, to support his disciples. When Duguyuking heard this, his eyes turned red and he said, "I want to make progress quickly, I want to forge ahead." He wished he could reach the end of his training immediately so that he could fight side by side with his master. Finally, he was drunk and lost consciousness, but he was still muttering, 11 soil, 11 soil. His realm is already at the rising stage of Chengfeng realm, and he is about to be able to impact the soil. His consciousness was almost lost in the Taoist landscape. His consciousness was riding the strong wind, penetrating the blue sky, and exploring the underworld, looking for the soil that could take root in the Taoist landscape. The Taoist scenery is a piece of nothingness, and the realm of riding the wind only allows the consciousness and soul of the cultivators to enter it, and be carried by the strong wind and swing without falling into nothingness. The realm of resting soil is to find the original soil and store it in the land of nothingness, so as to obtain one's own place to stand and soil of rest, hence the name resting soil. The realm of resting soil is further divided into realms of flying sand, solid soil, built land, 10 miles, 100 miles, 1,000 miles, and 10,000 miles. In the outside world, a cultivator in the realm of riding the wind often needs thousands of years to find some suitable dust in the vast world, incorporate it into the land of nothingness, and let flying sand appear in the land of nothingness. However, in the inheritance of those great emperors, it is quite easy to reach the realm of resting soil, because the pure land opened up by the great emperor himself is full of soil that can be placed in the land of nothingness. This is also the reason why in Xuanhuan continent, even Xuanhuan, and others, who are known as the heroes of the generation, are only in the Zilan realm. The imperial court and the outside world are like two worlds. Any cultivator in the imperial court can obtain the holy soil, but cultivators in the outside world need to spend countless time in the vast world to find it. At this moment, Duguyuking thought of Fueo. Suddenly, his consciousness came from a place of nothingness and stared at this small courtyard. But I found that every grain of dust in the small courtyard was emitting starlight, soft and holy, with a supreme aura. Every grain of soil in the courtyard can be called supreme holy soil. Duguyuking suddenly stood up from the wine table and looked towards the peach tree drunkenly. Because, he discovered that the soil at the base of the peach tree has the brightest light and the richest smell. That is the best soil. He immediately ran over and grabbed the soil one by one. Li Fan was drinking from a wine glass. When he saw this, he was stunned. What is going on? Go crazy with alcohol. I never thought that Duguyuking would go crazy with alcohol before. He even saw Duguyuking grabbing mud as if he was going to stuff it into his mouth. Eat dirt. Li Fan was shocked and hurriedly stepped forward and said, "Stop." As soon as he spoke, the branches of the peach tree drooped slightly, and Duguyuking slowly fell to the ground, and the mud in his hands also fell away. In fact, the main reason is that he has just absorbed a part of the mud, and after that mud entered the Dao Jingdi, a grain of soil instantly seemed to turn into a star, emitting dazzling light. Taking in too much at once was not a good thing for him, so Dosha gently let him fall into a deep sleep. Li Fan came over and looked at Duguyuking, but he was speechless. This Duguyuking has a bad temper. That's all. Who made him his disciple? He had no choice but to drag Duguyuking back to Duguyuking's room. Then, when he walked out of the room, he found, Gongya was also asleep under the peach tree. What the hell is this? Could it be that Gongya is also drunk and crazy? He was helpless and walked over, picked up Gongya and put her back in her room. Then, he sat down and took a sip of wine. The little white cat had fallen asleep on the stone table. Li Fan touched it and said, "You're still good." He sat in the small courtyard for a long time before suddenly whispering, "That lamp is a pity. I have to say that the lamp Duguyuking was looking for has a long history and can be called a national treasure. Even if you dare not buy or sell, it is actually good to take it back and light it." However, Li Fan did not regret it. He would not let his disciples touch those lights. If you really want to touch it, you have to touch it yourself. After all, disciples have never seen the world and cannot grasp such things. He didn't think too much, immediately hugged Xiaobai, got up and went to the room. After a long time, the spring breeze blows through the small courtyard. The method of starting a prairie fire, the master still doesn't use it. The old hen's voice sounded, seeming a little regretful, and said, "Back then, the master asked us to leave, and he blocked the darkness alone. In the end, only the ancestor of the 12 ancestors walked out of the darkness with 12 lamps. The method that the master found in the darkness is to use his own origin to burn the source of darkness. In this way, the world illuminated by the lamp of origin will give birth to the rules of heaven and earth that devour the darkness and become a true pure land of life. Let the darkness not set foot." The fire of white mist was extinguished back then, because the divine witch said that if he rescued his master, he would have the backup plan to burn the source of darkness. Now, the master has thrown away the lamp of origin, and the fire of darkness has been ignited. Is it his backup plan? Is he still alive? There seems to be a lot of confusion in the words. The branches of the peach tree hung lightly, and a clear female voice sounded, saying, "After the lamp of origin went out, the wizard took the master's origin into the darkness, and the master did return. After returning, the master had just created reincarnation, but darkness had already struck, indicating that the witch may be in danger." The old hen was silent for a long time and said, "Later, the master had to go through another battle. In that battle, we only saw the dark stars lighting up in the sky, and we fell into a deep sleep. When we woke up again, we were brought back to the village by the master." The peach tree whispered. "What exactly happened in that battle, no one knows. Now, what is the magic witch's backup plan? Whether the master also left a backup plan, you and I have no way of knowing." A. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 1093. Early next morning. The Fan family and his party have entered the Terror Beast mountain range. It's very dangerous here, so be careful. Fan Qingyun is very cautious. Fan Yao Yao and Fan Peiming were also a little uneasy. After all, there were big bosses around yesterday. If those fearful leaders took action today, they would be in trouble. However, they didn't go far when they saw a terrifying magic crane flying away with a large grass nest of its own in its mouth. There were more than a dozen eggs in the grass nest. A colorful magic fox actually carried an animal skin bag and walked away from home. These forbidden beasts had no time to pay attention to their group, they were too busy running away. Seeing this scene, everyone had complicated expressions. "This is scary." Fan Peiming couldn't help but speak and said, "Living next to a big boss, even these forbidden beasts are afraid." Fan Qingyun and others are even more looking forward to it. They moved forward, and after a while, they finally saw the small mountain village. "Ancestor, Dad, this is a small mountain village." The group of people approached and finally entered the small mountain village. At this moment, Fan Changshao's eyes suddenly became excited, and he said in shock, "This is definitely the pure land of life. Do you feel, the wind and the breath here are all the supreme forbidden energy? If you enter the forbidden realm and practice here, what a solid foundation it will be." After saying that, he took a big gulp of the village wind. Fan Qingyun was also excited and hurriedly fanned the village wind into his mouth with his hands. Fan Yao Yao said weakly, "Brother, why do I feel that Ancestor and the others are not normal? Is this wind so magical?" Fan Peiming looked complicated and said nothing. But Fan Changshao glared and said, "You still have the nerve to say that you have eaten sour soup rice. Do you know what an opportunity it is? Now of course you don't like these things, but have you ever thought about it? Your ancestors and I drank some and you left the leftovers. The honey." He was furious when he brought it up. Fan Yao Yao and Fan Peiming. While taking a swig of wind, he walked forward, and suddenly he seemed to feel something again. He suddenly lowered his head and took a look, and was suddenly shocked. Supreme Holy Land, Supreme Holy Land. He couldn't help but kneel down, trembling, picked up a handful of mud on the ground, and said, "Back then, if my ancestor could have obtained such a piece of soil, he wouldn't have been unable to survive today." He said excitedly, "Ming Ming, Yao Yao, you are now in the Fueyao realm. If you have a chance, you must ask the big boss for a few grains of soil from this village. A few grains of soil can make you reach the level of the land in the realm of soil. It is not impossible to even reach the legendary stage of thousands of miles." Hearing this, Fan Qingyun and others were shocked. The state of the soil is flying sand, solid soil, building ground, 10 miles, 100 miles, 1,000 miles, 10,000 miles. Wanli means to cast Tao soil with a radius of thousands of miles in the void land of Tao scenery, but this realm can only be achieved by the core geniuses of the major imperial courts. So, this place is really comparable to the pure land created by the great emperor. Fan Qingyun was in a daze. He had heard that in the Pure Land created by the great emperor, any handful of soil could be included in the land of nothingness. Therefore, if the imperial court was powerful, a powerful person at the level of 11 soil would be nothing at all. But in the outside world, there are many difficulties. Today, this small mountain village is comparable to the imperial court. If word spreads, the world will tremble. Fan Qingyun looked at the soil on the ground and his mouth watered immediately. He couldn't help but wipe it and said, "Ancestor, can I try? I covet this soil." But although Fan Changshao was usually a bitch, now he was extremely solemn and scolded. "What nonsense are you talking about? You can eat such precious soil whenever you want? Do you think you are at home? Let's go, we have to visit that senior first. This soil is too precious. You must not steal it privately. Otherwise, Senior Li will blame you and it will be over." They moved on. The water in this gutter smells like the legendary Tai holy water in the Water Emperor's Pure Land. If you can get one of these grasses, you will definitely have no worries about growing trees in the future. Being able to plant them in a Taoist landscape is a great blessing. Along the way, they were simply amazed. Fan Changshao had lived in poverty for a long time and was familiar with a lot of knowledge about his ancestors, so he could see something extraordinary. This made Fan Yao Yao and Fan Peiming wipe away cold sweat while walking. This village is so scary. And in the small courtyard. Early in the morning, as soon as Li Fan finished washing, there was a knock on the door. Gong Ya opened the door and found that the person who came was the second uncle. "Xiao Li, come on, let's play a game with the second uncle." The second uncle spoke to Li Fan. He took advantage of Li Fan's absence these past few days to think hard and find a way to defeat Li Fan. Now that Li Fan is finally back, he is itching and unbearable, so he came to the house for a decisive battle. Li Fan smiled and said, "Good." Immediately, he and the second uncle played chess and started playing. "Xiao Li, look, if you come out handsome, I will really have to retreat. However, it is still difficult for you to defeat me like this. At most, I dare not capture your other chess pieces, but your chess pieces cannot cross the Chu He-Han world." The achievements of the second uncle in the past few days are now revealed, which is indeed a big change in the chess game. If you want to break the situation, I think you still have to follow the old path, unless someone can take your place as commander-in-chief and restrain my general. As the second uncle said, Li Fan smiled and said, "Second uncle, handsome is handsome and irreplaceable." The second uncle thought about it and said, "Then what do you do?" Li Fan was about to speak when he heard a voice coming from outside. "Excuse me, is Senior Li at home?" It was Fan Yao Yao's voice. Li Fan immediately put down the chess and said, "Yes, please come in." Outside, Fan Yao Yao and others immediately pushed the door open and entered. Just entering the small courtyard, Fan Changshao subconsciously glanced at the ground. Suddenly, he felt his breathing become short of breath. The soil here seemed stronger than that in the village. To what level? He couldn't see it at all, but it was definitely very, very scary. Moreover, the air here. It's all a source of taboos. At this moment, he regretted it. When he was outside, he drank too much wind, and Dao Jingdi couldn't hold it any longer. Mainly, a wisp of wind in the small mountain village turned into a tornado when it entered his Taoist landscape, which made him feel a little unbearable. "Ancestor, then, that is." Fan Qingyun was trembling and looked at the cat in Li Fan's arms. That cat is really the same as the white tiger in their ancestral painting. So similar. Raising mythical beasts as cats? This must be the big boss. Meet Senior Li. Immediately, Fan Changshao and others bowed down directly. Li Fan said, "No need to be polite, please get up quickly." Suddenly, everyone felt an inexplicable power, making them stand up directly. What you say is what you say, this senior is absolutely terrifying. Fan Changshao was even more shocked. Who are these two? Li Fan looked at them. Fan Peiming immediately introduced. Senior Qi, this is my grandfather's grandfather's grandfather, Fan Changshao, this is my father, Fan Qingyun. When Li Fan heard this, he was shocked. Grandpa's grandfather's grandfather? This is quite viable. Old man, live a long life. He couldn't help but sigh and said. How many of you are here? Do you have anything important to do? Fan Changshao immediately said solemnly. Senior Qi, we found traces of one of your apprentices. Hearing this, Li Fan was immediately moved, so quickly. Which one? He asked immediately. Fan Changshao said. The fish farmer. Along the way, Fan Yaoyao and Fan Peiming both said that the supreme boss loves acting, so they have to follow him. For this senior, the ancestor of the Kunpeng method, was actually a fish farmer. Therefore, Fan Changshao also described it this way. Hearing this, Li Fan was immediately delighted. Long Xuanhuan. Good night. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 1094. Li Fan was quite happy. It seemed that he had found the wrong person. Fan Peiming and Fan Yaoyao were really awesome. It was only the second day and they had already found clues about their disciples. Where is my disciple now? He asked immediately. Fan Changshao said. Senior Qi, we can't determine his location yet, but the clues are over there at Thunder Emperor City. Hearing this, Li Fan nodded and said. Okay, in that case, let's go to Thunder Emperor City. He was ready to leave. However, the second uncle next to him was anxious and said. Xiao Li, just let Zhuge Yuqing go. Let's continue playing chess. Today I have to figure out what you are going to do. Li Fan then thought about it. The location of Long Xuanhuan has not been determined yet, but there are only clues. Moreover, letting Zhuge Yuqing go is almost the same as going by himself. After all, although he is a cultivator, he is only at the nascent soul stage and is not much better than a mortal like Zhuge Yuqing. Okay, then let Yuqing take the trip. Hearing this, Zhuge Yuqing immediately said. Obey master. At this time, Gong Ya also prepared breakfast and served it. Millet porridge and boiled eggs, not too much fancy stuff, just plain and simple. Let's go after breakfast together. Li Fan spoke. Immediately, he asked Fan Changshao and others to sit down. However, when he picked up an egg, Fan Qingyun was completely stunned. The source of terror coming from this egg, this invisible heat, could it be? He subconsciously glanced at the group of local chickens next to him. If the native chicken felt something, he looked over calmly. Suddenly, Fan Qingyun felt like he was looking directly at the sun, his eyes were burning, and he hurriedly closed his eyes. No, don't look blindly, that should be the phoenix. Next to him, Fan Changshao was transmitting a message to him, and his voice was trembling. Fan Qingyun looked over and saw that Fan Changshao was holding an egg. He was a good boy and didn't look at it at all. Fan Qingyun suddenly felt complicated. His ancestor was still the most stubborn. Eat, why don't you eat? Li Fan saw them not moving and spoke in confusion. Hearing this, a few people hurriedly peeled off the eggshells, and then began to eat them with great care. After eating the eggs, they immediately felt as if their whole bodies were being burned by flames. Waves of surging true fire permeated the whole body, washing all their limbs and veins. Phoenix True Fire, this is the strongest true fire in the divine fire realm. Fan Changshao was very excited. riding the wind, breathing soil, repelling water, growing wood, divine fire. In fact, each realm refers to changes in the land of nothingness. The resting soil is to take the resting soil of the 9 heavens and build the earth in the land of nothingness. Water restoration requires opening up water sources in the earth. The purpose of growing trees is to bring life to the void and make trees grow. The divine fire needs to ignite the flame. As the saying goes, wind produces earth, earth produces water, water produces wood, wood produces fire, and fire produces metal. This is a process. And the phoenix true fire they obtained now is a treasure for those who are strong in the divine fire realm. However, because their realm is still too shallow, they cannot use it and can only cleanse themselves. It's a pity, it's a pity. Fan Qingyuan was also very upset, blaming himself for being too weak. This kind of treasure is in front of me, but I can only waste it and waste it. Fan Yao Yao and Fan Peiming, on the other hand, didn't feel it at all. They seemed to be somewhat used to it. Seeing them, Fan Qingyuan and Fan Changshao were speechless. These 2 prodigal sons were so squandering. They are all refining silently. However, soon, their strength still increased, and they entered the realm of Hinayana and middle vehicle. After all, the energy contained in the phoenix egg is very terrifying. Even a small amount of energy is enough to make them improve. Finally, breakfast was finished. The second uncle asked Li Fan to play chess, insisting on meeting Li Fan. Dugu Yuking said goodbye. Master, this disciple will go find senior brother Long first. Li Fan placed the chess pieces with the second uncle and said. Okay, go ahead. By the way, thunderstorms are coming soon. Remember to bring an umbrella when you go out. Hearing this, Dugu Yuking's heart suddenly moved. Master reminded him to bring an umbrella, he must definitely bring it. Immediately, he found a few umbrellas and took them with him in case of emergencies. At the same time, he went to the kitchen to find a lot of seasonings and took them with him. This time when I was in the Hank Mountains, I was greedy more than once. Moreover, there were a lot of wild game in the mountains. However, I didn't even get a good bite because I didn't bring any seasonings. So this time when he went out, he was determined to learn from senior sister Xiling. Senior sister Xiling, you must bring seasonings every time you go out. Then, he, Fan Changshao and others, left the small courtyard. Before leaving, he took the little red bird with him. Ancestors. After walking out of the small courtyard, Fan Changshao and others saluted Dugu Yuking respectfully, with excitement in their eyes. Dugu Yuking said. No need to be polite, tell me in detail what happened. Immediately, Fan Changshao told them everything from the legends of their ancestors to the prophecies of the great Master Tiao, as well as the layout of their Fan family this time. After listening, a flash of thought flashed in Dugu Yuking's eyes. The one who dances like a master. It turns out that back then, Master was ready to sacrifice himself and burn the lamp of origin. But he was rescued by the god of Tiao who extinguished the lamp of origin. Who is that person who dances like a god? He vaguely felt that in this life, the moment he and others re-entered the forbidden world, a big situation might have begun. In this overall situation, the master, the darkness, and even the master, may all be the planners, and they are all competing. But right now, it's not possible to get a full picture of the overall situation. Immediately afterwards, there was an unprecedented coldness in his eyes. It turns out, after they died fighting in the darkness, there were actually people in the world who took advantage of the fire of the white mist to extinguish and the ancestors' tribe to be severely damaged by the darkness, and took advantage of the fire to rob the pure land of the ancestors. The energy of the lunar sun, the original origins of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, etc. They even hunted down the bloodline of our ancestors. This made Dugu Yuking really angry. The things they took away from the ancestors will be taken back one by one this time, and the blood debt they owed, will also be paid back tenfold. He spoke coldly. Fan Changshao and others are looking forward to it. That's right, ancestor. Fan Changshao remembered something and said anxiously. Can you give us some soil from this village? After all, finding breath soil in the outside world is really difficult. When Duguyuking heard this, the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. He vaguely remembered that he seemed to have eaten dirt last night. You guys, just do whatever you want. He spoke. Hearing this, Fan Changshao, Fan Qingyun and others suddenly became excited. They started digging on the side of the road. Ancestor, come quickly, the soil here is soft and suitable for your teeth. Go away, you ancestor, and I just want to eat hard soil. They started eating dirt. Even Fan Yao Yao and Fan Peiming were stunned for a moment, and then silently started looking for dirt. After all, they are all in the Fueyao realm and must find a suitable habitat before they can move to the next realm. Thankfully Master is not here, otherwise, they would probably all become mentally ill. Duguyuking had a complicated look on his face and couldn't help but say, these people are more mentally ill than Yin Suan and Wei back then. And at this moment, a top secret place that no one knows about is shrouded in darkness. In the darkness, there seems to be a black path that is ups and downs. There is news from the source, let us keep an eye on the dark fire. On the path, a cold voice sounded, saying, the fire of darkness has now appeared in Thunder Emperor City. Those ants should be taking the so-called path of parasitism, haha, you too, go to Thunder Emperor City. Find the host of the dark fire. Suddenly, two rot slaves walked out on the black path, respectfully picked up their luggage and said, yes. After the two rot slaves left, the source said that in the forbidden world, there are supremely powerful people under the dome of darkness, and the fire of darkness will guide us to find them. A voice whispered on the dark path. Why is the supreme powerhouse in the dark sky here? Could it be that he was captured by the great god Jumper? Small village. It was almost noon. Xiao Li, you are always trying to get away from me, I don't understand, I don't understand. The second uncle had been playing chess with Li Fan for a long time, but in the end, he still didn't see Li Fan's intention. Li Fan smiled slightly and said, fun chess must be played slowly. The second uncle shook his head and said, forget it, I have to think again, let's just go down here today. He stood on crutches and got ready to leave. Correct. Suddenly, the second uncle spoke again and said, Xiao Li, you are proficient in calendars and solar terms. How long will it be before thunder hits this year? Li Fan heard this and said doubtfully, thunder. The second uncle nodded and said, the great dance master told me before he left that during the first thunderstorm of the year, I have to wait for something. He will ask someone to bring something back to me. Li Fan was puzzled, but still said, it's almost here, spring has arrived, so the thunder won't be too far away. The second uncle nodded and left immediately. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xian. Chapter 1095. Kaiwanzhou, Thunder Emperor City. Today's Lei Emperor City is extremely lively. Ever since the news in Thunder Emperor City spread, almost all the sect forces and cultivators in Kaiwan continent rushed over. After all, for the outside world, the temptation to enter the Pure Land Imperial Court is too great. In the outside world, if one can cultivate to the realm of Zixi by relying on one's own strength, one can already be called a hero. However, in the Pure Land of the Great Dao, living soil can be found everywhere. Many realms are just a matter of course, and there are not even any big difficulties. It is a supreme honor to have a disciple enter the Pure Land of the Imperial Court, and the entire force will ascend to heaven along with it. Today, in the Thunder Emperor City, blue arcs of lightning flash from time to time, which is thrilling and attracts people to worship. What, that goo insect was destroyed? In Lei Emperor City, on top of a tall building, Lei Xiao spoke in shock and looked at Shui Jing. Good. Shui Jing held the wine glass and whispered. The last location where those two goo worms appeared should be this place called the Terror Beast Forest. He calmly pointed to a mark on the map and said, "These ancestors must have something hidden here." Hearing this, Lei Xiao said, "I'll report it immediately and take people there." Shui Jing hesitated, but at this moment, a lighting soldier suddenly came and said, "Report. Master Lei Xiao and Master Shui Jing, please let us pay special attention to the two young men who have appeared. They just passed the city gate." Hearing this, Shui Jing and Lei Xiao were both slightly shocked. They actually dare to come. Lei Xiao spoke. Shui Jing said, "Lead the way and go have a look." Immediately, they stood up. And at this moment, Lei Emperor City is indeed prosperous. Dugu Yuking, Fan Yao Yao and Fan Peiming were walking on the streets of Lei Di City, looking at the rows of high-rise buildings around them. Fan Yao Yao couldn't help but admire them. The streets are busy with traffic and the sound of hawking is endless. Elite talents from all major sects are everywhere. Dugu Yuking was very indifferent. Suddenly, he glanced at a certain restaurant. He had caught the secret observation since he first entered the city gate, and now, the spy in the restaurant has not escaped his eyes. But, he was very calm. In the restaurant, in darkness. "How about it, do you want to take action?" Lei Xiao asked Shui Jing. Shui Jing shook his head and said, "No need. They probably didn't realize the existence of my two goo worms. My two goo worms must have been destroyed by some source." He has already seen that the realms of Fan Peiming and Fan Yao Yao have improved again. Reached the realm of living soil. This speed is nothing in lighting, but in the outside world, it is too fast, abnormally fast. Unless, the other party is like the Pure Land of the Imperial Court, with holy soil that can be included in the land of nothingness. And the origin of that sacred soil, can kill his two goo insects. Now it seems that I am worrying too much. After all, if Fan Yao Yao and others really discovered the problem of goo insects, they would probably not come to Lei Emperor City to die again. The young man who is with them has not been seen before and is a little unclear. During the test later, I will keep an eye on him at the end. He spoke. Lei Xiao nodded. Shui Jing, on the other hand, had an additional thought in his mind: is there sacred soil hidden in the forest of fearful beasts? Things are going on here, so it's time to go take a look. Almost all the geniuses who came to Thunder Emperor City gathered in front of Thunder Emperor Palace. In front of the Thunder Emperor's palace, there is an open space with a radius of hundreds of miles. The open space is paved with the most expensive jade. In the center, there is a high platform. On the high platform is a square stone tablet. On the stone tablet is carved a thunder and lightning. That is the symbol of the Thunder Emperor. Back then, the Thunder Emperor attained enlightenment in Thunder Emperor City and created the Pure Land of Thunder Path. Now, hundreds of thousands of geniuses have come here and gathered in front of the Thunder Emperor's palace, waiting for testing. The process of the Thunder Path Festival is very simple. On the Thunder Path steel, the power of thunder and lightning will be emitted. If you are talented in Thunder Path, you can absorb the power of Thunder Path and resist longer. But if you have no luck with Thunder Path, will be knocked unconscious. Dugu Yuking and others had just arrived here, and they were already greeted by a group of people. "You two are finally here." The leader was clearly Lei Xiao. He looked at Fan Peiming and Fan Yao Yao with enthusiasm and said, "You two are destined disciples. There is no need to take the test. Please just follow me to the Lei Emperor Palace and wait." "How about that?" He came to pick up Fan Peiming and the two, but did not mention Dugu Yuking. Fan Peiming and Fan Yao Yao subconsciously looked at Dugu Yuking. Dugu Yuking nodded and said, You go ahead. The two of them immediately followed Lei Xiao and left. I wish you good luck. Lei Xiao smiled at Zhuge Yuqing and then left. Zhuge Yuqing stepped into the crowd and glanced indifferently. Suddenly, his eyes fell on two men in the distance. Those two men were wearing grey clothes and veils. However, far away, Zhuge Yuqing felt a familiar atmosphere. Rotten slave. Those two people are definitely dark rot slaves. Darkness is also coming. It's interesting. Zhuge Yuqing spoke. Get ready. In front of the Lei Emperor Palace, someone shouted. I saw a group of people walking out. The leader among them is Lei Dongyun. Beside him, there was a woman in a green skirt. Lei Dongyun's whole body seemed to be filled with thunder and lightning, and his sharpness was so despicable that no one dared to look directly at it, but the young woman beside him was like a soft wave, exuding layers of mist. She is a distinguished guest from Yuzhu, the saint of the Waterway Imperial Court. Shui Qingling represents the Water Emperor. The Water Emperor, the Earth Emperor, and the Gold Emperor were all ancient emperors, and they were the farthest on the path of parasitism. Therefore, this time the Thunder Emperor chose to take this path. In a sense, the people from the Waterway Emperor Court were here to help. General Qi, these two people are the ones I reported to you before. Lei Xiao brought Fan Yao Yao and Fan Peiming to Lei Dongyun. It's really good. Before Lei Dongyun could speak, Shui Qingling had already said calmly. However, even if the bloodline is very extraordinary, it is still thin after all. Compared with Ao Wushuan, it is still much worse. Actually, one Ao Wushuan is enough. These people are all redundant. As for the 10,000 people in front of the palace, they are killing evil for no reason. I suggest you let them go. Lei Dongyun also smiled and said. The dark energy in Ao Wushuan is unmatched by anyone. However, it is always good to have more choices. What if we can choose a few more perfect ways? After speaking, he waved his hand and said. Start. The words fell. Suddenly, black formation flags were raised all around in front of the Thunder Emperor's palace. At this moment, a faint trace of black energy actually emerged from those formation flags, instantly covering the entire front of the Thunder Emperor's palace. Hundreds of thousands of people were all shocked at this moment. What's this? No, the Thunder Path Festival isn't the test about the power of Thunder Path. These black mist are the black mist of annihilation. Instantly, everyone panicked. This is different from the test they imagined. The Thunder Path Festival has always used the stone tablet in the middle to radiate the power of Thunder Path to test the people's Thunder Path talent. Even if they fail, they will at most faint and not die. But now, this black mist seems to come from darkness in legend. Unstoppable. No. When an old strong man inhaled a trace of black mist, his whole body was immediately corrupted, his flesh and blood flowed across his body, and he was wiped out on the spot. What the hell is this? A young genius wailed, his hands quickly turned black and rotted. Help, help. More people are wailing. In front of Lei Emperor's palace, Lei Dongyun looked indifferent and said. Fortunately, the battle flags of the ancestor tribes back then were tainted with a little dark energy. Otherwise, it would be impossible to test the way of destiny today. These flags originated from the ancestor tribes of the past. The ancestor tribes once walked out of the darkness with lamps. Many of their items were infected with the air of darkness and were sealed. Later, the Thunder Emperor participated in robbing the ancestors' pure land of life, and naturally he also grabbed some. Today, they are releasing these dark energies in order to select people who can survive under the dark energies. Only this kind of people are what the law of parasitism wants. Moreover, the dark energy in the items of the ancestors has been suppressed by the ancestors. In a sense, it cannot be compared with the black mist from the source. The destructiveness is not the most powerful. Even their lighting can control. Looking at this scene, Shui Qingling couldn't help but sigh slightly and said, "Actually, it's really not necessary, this is too much killing." Upon hearing this, Lei Dongyuan smiled and said, "Saint Qingling, you are so compassionate. Didn't the Waterway Emperor's path to parasitism lead to murder? Master Shui Jing's Kunpeng technique has an extraordinary origin." He smiled and spoke. When Shui Qingling heard this, she couldn't help but fell silent. Install. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 1096. Lei Emperor City, in front of Lei Emperor Palace. Death is spreading, and the black formation flag has sealed off the field. No one can escape. Even though these dark energies were once suppressed by the ancestors, and eons have passed, they have long since lost the terrifying power of pure black mist, but for ordinary cultivators, they are still deadly. In fact, even the imperial court can only control these thin black energies with the help of the relics of the ancestors, and cannot destroy them at all. Now, almost all cultivators have no resistance at all. Death is spreading and wailing can be heard everywhere. No. Help. I don't want to die. Why, Lei Ting deceived us. This is not a thunder event at all, this is a dark killing. Many people are sad, angry, and desperate. At this moment, the black mist was also drifting towards Tuguyuking. Tuguyuking was calm and let the black mist enter his body and entered the void of his Taoist scene. Then, the black mist entered the land of nothingness, and in the land of nothingness, there was suddenly a sky full of starlight, shining on the black mist. He is now in the flying sand realm, the first small stage of 11 soil. However, the flying sand of ordinary people is just some misty dust floating in the Tao scenery, but his flying sand is a kind of flying sand. The stars hanging between the sky and the earth are shining. This is because the holy soil found by others, even if it is extraordinary, will have limited effect when it enters the Taoist landscape. However, the soil he incorporated into the Taoist landscape. Everyone is very scary. The starlight emitted by these stars at this moment exudes the origin of white mist. Suddenly, the black energy was neutralized by the source of the white mist and turned into billowing gray mist. Perhaps because the black gas is too thin, the quality of the gray mist is not high and appears turbid. Then, Tuguyuking remembered that the sword of Wu slashed through the scenery, and the gray fog was wiped out one after another and disappeared completely. He has mastered the method of eradicating the black mist. To put it simply, he first neutralizes the black mist with the source of the white mist. After turning it into gray mist, he can then use the sword of nothingness to destroy it. I'm still too weak. Tuguyuking couldn't help but whisper. He remembered that day in the Origin Valley, facing the black mist and the black secret eye, the master did not need to rely on the source of the white mist at all. Everything was destroyed when the sword came. That black mist doesn't even have a chance to turn into gray mist. At this moment, as if someone was manipulating him, there was a steady stream of black energy floating towards him, far more powerful than the others. But Tuguyuking is very indifferent. He will deal with the black energy as much as it comes. At the same time, he looked to the other side. Among the many people who fell and perished, there were 2 men in black who remained unmoved. Dark Rot Slave. To them, black energy is just a supplement. That man is indeed something extraordinary. It seems that he must also be of the blood of the ancestors, or even the stronger blood of the ancestors. In front of the Thunder Emperor's palace, Shui Jing stared at Tuguyuking and murmured. Shui Qingling gave him a rather stern look and said, "Shui Jing, I can't help but you take action privately without my permission. Isn't it a bit too much?" When Shui Jing heard this, a flash of impatience flashed in his eyes, but he still lowered his head and said, "Saint, forgive me. Shui Jing knows I was wrong." However, a cold chill flashed through his heart. "Saint. Haha, if you can't go back alive this time, you will no longer be a saint. And he himself will have the opportunity to be promoted to the Holy Son. Only by becoming the Holy Son can one compete for the position of Emperor's son. The Holy Son is just the core seed in the imperial court. Only the Emperor's son can be recognized and cultivated by the Emperor. And he knows some secrets. This time, what Shui Qingling came to do, is very dangerous, and he should die. And he has already won the favor of a certain big shot in the Shuidao imperial court. If Shui Qingling dies, he can succeed. Okay, you can accept it? Lei Dongyuan spoke calmly. Immediately, the surrounding lightning soldiers put away the formation flags. The field was already littered with corpses. On the jade-paved ground, rotten blood and flesh were everywhere. The hundreds of thousands of cultivators who had been looking forward to it were almost all wiped out at this moment. There were less than 20 people alive, and most of them were seriously injured and were about to die. Even Zhuge Yuking pretended to be injured. Very good, you 17 are the Taoists chosen by our lightning court. Lei Dongyuan smiled slightly, looked at Zhuge Yuking and the 17 others and said. Including the more than 20 people in the Hank Mountains before, Lei Ting's Daizai has surpassed 40 people, that's enough. He was quite satisfied. Those who survived were surprised when they heard this. Became a Taoist. This means that they have an unlimited future. The despair he felt just now turned into great joy. All Taoists, get ready and follow me into the pure land of Thunder Dao. Lei Dongyuan spoke calmly. Immediately, Zhuge Yuking and 17 others were brought to the Thunder Emperor's palace. Now, in the Lei Emperor's palace, a group of people were eating and drinking. Jian Wuiming, Zheng Shisha, Yuan Wuji, etc. are all there. They are almost crazy, and now there are special people to serve them, taking various treasures to rapidly improve their realm. Only one middle-aged man took matters into his own hands and ate so much. It was Ao Wushuan. Now, he has put on clean clothes and is no longer so dark. There are more than a dozen maids and slaves waiting to serve him, almost treating him like a young master. There is no other, because he is the most perfect disciple of destiny. Stop eating and prepare to enter the Pure Land. At this time, Lei Dongyuan walked in with someone. Ao Wushuan was eating and drinking. He stopped when he heard this. Then, he raised his eyes and looked forward. Immediately, several magic pills in his hand fell to the ground. Because, he saw a familiar figure. Zhuge Yuking. Nima. At this moment, Ao Wushuan panicked. What's going on, again? Ao Daizai, please. Lei Dongyuan stepped forward and invited him personally, smiling and saying. Don't worry, Ao Daizai, these people are not as good as you are the person that Lei Ting likes the most. He was trying to appease Ao Wushuan, because he was afraid that Ao Wushuan would be concerned when he saw other Taoists coming. However, Ao Wushuan's face was extremely ugly. He wanted to say, you Lei Ting, I'm afraid you are going to die. Lei Qing, the servant of thunder, led everyone to a stone gate. On the stone gate, there are mysterious thunder clouds and lightning patterns carved on it. This stone gate is the only way to enter the Pure Land of Thunder Road. Lei Dongyuan opened the door. Suddenly, a blue electric light rushed towards my face. As everyone entered, they were greeted by a brilliant blue light. They shuttled through the space passage for a long time before suddenly landing on the ground. When they opened their eyes, everyone was shocked by the sight before them. The vast blue sky is filled with fairy clouds. There are blue electric birds flying past in the sky, and celestial palaces stand on the clouds. And on the earth, at a glance, there are all kinds of strange flowers and fruits, all of which are treasures that are extremely difficult to find in the outside world. The earth exudes a faint blue light, and every particle of dust seems to be extremely extraordinary. The creatures I saw were all very powerful, at least they were all in the realm of living soil. The pure land of thunder, is so bright. This is the Thunder Road Emperor's Court, we are here. It's so strong. This is my dream place. Many people were excited. However, between heaven and earth, there are blue chains hanging from the sky, with heads hanging on them. This is incompatible with the peaceful and sacred appearance of the entire Pure Land. What are those heads? Someone asked. Lei Dongyuan said calmly. They are just some ants who don't know whether to live or die and want to challenge Lei Ting. You don't have to ask any more questions. When Fan Peiming and Fan Yaoyao saw this scene, they felt uncomfortable in their hearts and there was some warmth in their eyes. We took away the holy source of our ancestors and established such a grand pure land, haha, the heads of the strong ones among our ancestors are still hanging, showing off their power. They all feel a sense of sadness and anger. They already knew what those heads were hanging from the sky. The heads of our ancestors. In the past, there were some masters among the ancestors who wanted to take back what originally belonged to the ancestors and stormed the imperial court, but, they were all killed. Their heads were hung high. At this moment, a sense of sadness arose in their hearts, and anger filled their bodies. At this moment, a terrifying shadow suddenly appeared in the sky in front of everyone. The phantom looks like a man who is full of anger. It cannot be seen clearly, but it makes people worship him. This is the shadow of the Thunder Emperor. Anyone who enters the pure land of the Thunder Way must worship this shadow and completely surrender to the Thunder Way. Lei Dongyuan said, you can go and bow down. Immediately, most of the more than 40 people rushed to worship. After those people bowed down, lightning flashed into their minds for an instant. Then, these people seemed to have changed into different people, extremely devout to the Way of Thunder, and were transformed into true believers of the Way of Thunder. Why don't you three come forward and kneel down? Suddenly, Lei Xiao looked at Tugu Yuking, Fan Peiming, and Fan Yaoyao coldly. Now, only the three of them and Ao Wushuan are left. However, Ao Wushuan's status was extraordinary and he could kneel down whenever he wanted. There was no such strong restriction. Kowtow to him. Fan Peiming had anger on his face, staring at the phantom of the Thunder Emperor, with hatred ready to burst out, and said, impossible. Hearing this, everyone's expressions changed. How dare these people openly disrespect the Thunder Emperor? Want to die? Haha, it seems that you untouchables always have different intentions. Kneel down or die. Lei Xiao and others spoke coldly. But Tugu Yuking suddenly raised his eyes and said, worship him. He smiled slightly and said, I'm afraid he won't be able to bear it. When Lei Xiao and others heard this, they became even more angry. You are so brazen, take him down and kill him. Someone roared. Tugu Yuking, on the other hand, already said calmly. You will only worship my master in this life. Do you have the courage to stand shoulder to shoulder with my master? He actually wanted to try it. So, he lowered his head slightly and prepared to salute. However, he just made a salute at this moment. Boom! Suddenly, the phantom of the Thunder Emperor disappeared. Turned into thunder clouds all over the sky, dare not gather into the shadow of the Thunder Emperor again. Seeing this, everyone in the venue was in an uproar instantly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 1097. The Thunder Emperor's shadow actually dissipated and turned into clouds that were spreading across the sky. Seeing this scene, everyone in the venue was shocked instantly. What happened? How could the Thunder Emperor's shadow disperse? Isn't it possible that the shadow of the Thunder Emperor is unwilling to be worshipped by them? Everyone was surprised and confused. Lei Dongyuan was also shocked. This was the first time this happened. However, when he thought about it again, he instantly understood the reason. It seems, you remnants of our ancestors are really stubborn. He spoke in a deep voice and said, you guys actually dare to disrespect the Thunder Emperor and blaspheme the Thunder Emperor in the pure land of the Thunder Emperor. He felt that it must be Fan Paiming and others who harbor hatred, and the Thunder Emperor was unwilling to be kowtowed by them. If not, how could the Thunder Emperor's shadow disperse? He originally thought that if Fan Yao Yao and others worshipped the Thunder Emperor's shadow and were transformed by the Thunder Emperor's luminosity, they could become slaves of the Thunder Court like others, allowing themselves to be slaughtered and become the seeds of the path of parasitism. But now it seems, this won't work, and the remnant is the remnant. Take it. He stopped shouting, and immediately, Lei Xiao and others took action in an instant, directly surrounding Zhuge Yuqing and others. Even the vast pure land of thunder is felt at this moment. Countless heavenly palaces are roaring, and there is a powerful being with his eyes lit up, observing this place. What happened? How is this going? Who influenced the shadow of the Thunder Emperor? A series of majestic voices asked questions. When Lei Dongyuan saw this, he was immediately frightened, and the Thunder Emperor's shadow disappeared. This matter was so big that it had already attracted the attention of the powerful men in the heavenly palace. He hurriedly saluted towards the Peace of Heaven palace and said, my lords, I would like to inform you that they are the remnants of 3 ancestors. We originally planned to let them be the disciples of destiny, but in the end, they were disrespectful and blasphemed the shadow of the great emperor. After hearing this, a majestic voice sounded from a heavenly palace. Imprison him and punish him with the vulture punishment until he loses his disrespectful heart. Hearing this, Lei Dongyuan was slightly shocked. Those adults didn't give the order to kill these 3 people. Instead, imprison them and punish them with vulture punishment. It seems that it involves the path of parasitism, so those adults are thinking very far. After all, these 3 people are of the bloodline of the ancestors. After all, they are the most suitable targets for parasitism, so they must be kept first. As you command. Lei Dongyuan saluted and waved his hand. Suddenly, blue chains appeared and fell on Zhuge Yuqing and the others. It was a chain of thunder and lightning that bound them instantly. Take him into the thunder prison and keep him under strict supervision. Lei Dongyuan said coldly. Lei Xiao immediately stepped forward and left with the 3 of them. Sir, Ao Wushuan has not worshipped the shadow of the Thunder Emperor yet. At this time, a Lei Dao soldier spoke up to remind him. Lei Dongyuan frowned slightly and said, the shadow of the Thunder Emperor is difficult to reappear for the time being. I won't bow down for now, just go to the Thunder Pond for baptism first. After entering the Thunder Court, these Destiny disciples must be baptized and confirmed to have no flaws before they can be consecrated by the Thunder Emperor. The descending Tao, that is, the direct manifestation of the Thunder Emperor, bestowed the Tao seeds of the Thunder Tao on many Destiny Taoists and planted them in their Tao landscapes. Zhuge Yuqing and the others, led by Lei Xiao, moved along the ground towards the Thunder Road Heavenly Prison. In addition to the Heavenly Palace in the sky, there are many magnificent buildings on the earth, and the people of Lei Dao go in and out of them, with a population of millions. Finally, they arrived at the foot of a mountain. At the foot of the mountain, there was an empty and deep cage. Haha, no one has been imprisoned in the sky prison for many years. Lei Xiao sneered and waved his hand, opened the door of the prison, and locked Zhuge Yuqing and others in. In a sense, I'm looking forward to it. I hope you can be tougher. Lei Xiao's eyes showed a hint of salivation. As long as these people are not selected as Destiny disciples, then, they can be used to stew soup. Maybe, you can also get magical powers like Kunpeng technique. However, he shook his head immediately. Faced with the punishment of the Thunder Vulture, no one can survive it since ancient times. Release the Thunder Vulture. He waved his hand, and the soldier next to him opened the mechanism to release the Thunder Vulture. Haha, the thunder vulture will eat your essence alive bit by bit, enjoy it slowly. Lei Xiao sneered, turned around and left with the people. Tianlao never needed to be guarded, because the gate of Tianlao, let alone 3 cultivators in the realm of living soil, even the most powerful person who had completed the stage of the 5 elements mutual development, can't open it either. Besides, there are also thunder vultures. Duguyuking and others entered the sky prison. The dark and empty environment made them a little confused. Ancestor, what should we do? Fan Peiming looked at Duguyuking. Duguyuking, on the other hand, was very indifferent and said, find the holy source first. The holy source that the Thunder Emperor took away from the Pure Land of the ancestors was the foundation of the Thunder Path. As long as it was obtained first, the Thunder Path Pure Land would not be far from collapse. Therefore, he was imprisoned calmly. After all, we still don't know what is going on in the Pure Land of Thunder Path, so it's better to find out first. What is this sound? Suddenly Fan Yaoyao spoke in surprise. They looked towards the depths of the prison, and there was actually a huge cage in the depths. The cage was made of black iron, and inside the cage was a giant vulture. This vulture is as tall as a man, with electric arcs emitting from its entire body, and even its feathers are a faint blue. Thunder vulture, will this thing eat our origin? Fan Peiming spoke in fear. And as the thunder vulture approached step by step, a powerful thunder pressure also emitted, and the sound of thunder and lightning filled the air, making people's scalp numb. Suddenly, the thunder vulture let out a soul-shaking low cry, and the power of thunder came with constant pressure. Suddenly, Fan Peiming and Fan Yaoyao felt like they were hit by lightning, their whole bodies were numb and unable to move. On the contrary, Duguyuking let lightning strike him casually, but he didn't feel anything. Immediately afterwards, Fan Peiming and Fan Yaoyao's Taoist scenery appeared involuntarily. In their Taoist scenery, in the land of nothingness, they saw flying sands sweeping across, like clusters of pearls. Those were the soil they ate in the village. They were very extraordinary, each one radiating light. When the thunder vulture saw this, its pair of bird eyes suddenly radiated with heat, and it opened its mouth to swallow the flying sand in Fan Peiming and their Dao scenery. Once they are really eaten, Fan Peiming and others will suffer unimaginable pain, because the land of nothingness is the most mysterious place for a cultivator. Being invaded and plundered, the pain is enough to drive the cultivator crazy. This is vulture punishment. When Duguyuking saw this, he suddenly stepped forward and said, it's so boring to eat that, come and eat me. After saying that, his Taoist scene appeared spontaneously. I saw that his Dao scenery, that land of nothingness, actually looked like a vast universe, and in the universe, there were countless stars, emitting bright starlight. Seeing this scene, the thunder vulture was startled for a moment, and then, as if going crazy, it rushed towards Duguyuking's Taoist scenery. Its entire body seemed to be entering Duguyuking's Taoist landscape. After reaching the realm of breath, the practitioner's Taoist scenery can actually gradually be released and interact with reality. Even outside people and objects can be allowed into the Taoist scenery. However, generally no cultivator dares to do this. Firstly, his Taoist scenery will be easily destroyed by the enemy. On the other hand, if the Taoist landscape has not completed the process of the 5 elements interrelationships, even if there is a place to establish a cone, it will be just a wasteland and cannot breed life at all. Ordinary people entering other people's Taoist landscapes will gradually fall into death. Now, Duguyuking calmly released his Taoist scenery and let the thunder vulture in. The thunder vulture climbed into Duguyuking's Taoist scenery and was about to devour the stars in the void. But, right now, suddenly, a crisp bird song came from Duguyuking's Taoist scenery. A terrifying firebird flew across the sky, and a golden flame fell down instantly. When the thunder vulture saw this, its eyes suddenly widened in disbelief, and it let out a shrill scream. The thunder vulture has been covered by the Suzaku holy fire. It didn't take long. Fan Paiming, Fan Yao Yao slowly woke up from numbness. What happened? They were a little confused and had just been knocked unconscious by lightning. Suddenly, both of them smelled a different kind of fragrance. They immediately looked around and saw a big roasted golden bird in front of Duguyuking. The big bird was roasted until the skin was yellow and the meat was crispy, and the fat was oozing out, exuding an extremely tempting flavor. Duguyuking took out a lot of seasonings from the Taoist scene, such as cumin and chili powder, and sprinkled them one after another while commenting. Well, the heat was well controlled this time, just right. Fan Paiming and Fan Yao Yao were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. What's going on? Good night. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 1098. In the Thunder Road Heavenly Prison, the fragrance is overflowing at this moment. What's going on? Fan Paiming spoke in confusion. Ancestor, why did you roast such a big bird? Where was the thunder vulture just now? Fan Yao Yao asked curiously. Duguyuking pointed to the big roasted golden and crispy bird and said. Here it is. It's already cooked, come on, eat. Immediately, he tore off a piece of wing bone and started to chew on it. His mouth was filled with oil. However, as soon as he took the first bite, he immediately felt a numbness on the tip of his tongue. No. I put the wrong thing. Duguyuking suddenly remembered that among the seasonings he brought with him when he went out this time, there were peppercorns. But that peppercorn noodles were made by Gong Ya, there's something wrong. Very numb. Fortunately, he put in less peppercorns and added them late. He hurriedly started and tore off the entire thunder vulture's skin. I hope the pepper noodles haven't taken on the flavor yet, otherwise I won't be able to eat them. After all, he remembered that even the big black dog in the yard was paralyzed for a long time after eating a dish with too much peppercorn noodles. He then carefully continued to tear off a piece of meat, then nodded and said. Okay, you can start eating this time. Fan Paiming and Fan Yao Yao were so shocked that they were speechless at this moment. What, thunder vulture, was actually roasted? They all know how terrifying the thunder vulture is. Its realm is definitely not weaker than that of 11 soil, and it may even reach the water-repelling realm. However, now it is actually cooked. How did you do it? For a moment, they all looked a little complicated. Eat it while it's hot, it won't taste good when it's cold. Duguyuking, on the other hand, ignored it and reminded him. Hearing this, brother and sister Fan Paiming looked at each other, and then, started directly. Began to eat. Wow, the meat of this thunder vulture is pretty good. It smells so good. It was the first time for the two of them to eat such a precious creature, and they were both very excited and devoured it. It's a pity. This thunder vulture must be old and has some wood. Duguyuking was eating, feeling a little regretful, and said. I'll go out in a while, I have to look for it, grab some tender ones, and bring them back to the villagers to try. Hearing this, both brother and sister felt as if it was unreal. Is the ancestor too wild? It's okay to dislike other people's meat, but I'm still planning to pack it up and take it back to the village. Is this thinking of the Thunder Path Pure Land as a hunting place? Finally, there was a big thunderbird, and all three people ate it. Duguyuking just tasted the taste and didn't eat more. Mainly because of Fan Paiming and Fan Yao Yao, they worked hard and didn't waste a bit. After all, the thunder vulture contains powerful thunder power, which can cleanse the body, and its origin can also help them practice, which has many benefits. Ancestor, now, where are we going to barbecue? No, where are we going to find the holy source? Fan Yao Yao looked at Duguyuking expectantly. Duguyuking said calmly. I have roughly sensed the direction of the holy source. Let's go. He stepped forward, took out the Huangtian pen, dipped it in ink, and wrote a word on the door of the prison. Open. One stroke after another, pure true fire was flowing on Huangtian's pen, and the true meaning of the great Dao was boiling in the ink. In an instant, the door of the Thunder Dao heavenly prison, which had imprisoned countless powerful men, actually opened directly. Fan Yaoyao and Fan Peiming were both shocked. The ancestors' methods were too terrifying. And Dugu Yuking had already stepped out, looking in a certain direction. In that direction, there is a sacred mountain towering into the clouds. Lei Dao Mountain. He vaguely felt that the holy source should be over there. Immediately, they headed towards Thunder Road Mountain. Along the way, Thunder Path creatures can be seen everywhere. Fortunately, they have eaten the Thunder Vultures and accumulated a lot of Thunder Path power. When they are released, blue electric arcs sizzle on their bodies, covering themselves up. Now, on the Pure Land, in a majestic palace, Lei Dongyuan has arrived with a group of Tianming Taoists. There is nothing else in the palace except a wide thunder pool. The thunder pool has a radius of 1 kilometer, with lightning arcs flashing, blue mist thickening, and the origin of the thunder path being extremely rich. In the Pure Land of Thunder Road, there are 3 thunder pools. Lei Dongyuan opened his mouth and introduced. There is a Tianke, between the heavens and the universe. Only the important people in the heavenly palace can bathe. There is an earthly pond, above the thunder soil, for the living beings in the world to use. It is right in front of you. After hearing this, someone next to me asked. What about the third-party thunder pool? Lei Dongyuan smiled and said. The third-party thunder pond is the source of the heavenly pond and the earth pond. Even we don't know where it is. Extremely mysterious. Hearing this, everyone nodded and didn't ask any more questions. This mine pool only opens once every 1,000 years. Now that it is opened for you in advance, it is a great opportunity. You can prepare to enter. Lei Dongyuan then spoke, and immediately the eyes of many Tianming Taoist disciples lit up. Immediately, someone brought cups of thunder liquid. The power of the thunder path in the thunder pool must be violent. Even the creatures in the thunder soil, many people cannot bear it. They will be blasted to death if they enter. Therefore, if you want to survive, you must first take the thunder liquid. This thunder liquid can help you adapt and absorb the power of thunder. Lei Dongyuan spoke, and everyone immediately accepted it. This is over. What happens next is beyond our control, so I'll take my leave now. Shui Qingling, the saint from the Waterway Imperial Court, suddenly spoke at this moment. When the Taoist disciples of Tianming have finished their cleansing, it will be time to descend to the Tao. Regarding the matter of surrendering to the Dao, the Supreme Elder from the Water Dao Emperor Court came over and personally brought some of the Water Emperor's secret techniques, and contacted the senior leaders of the Lei Court, and the senior leaders of both parties were responsible. Shui Qingling and others are just helping to determine the destiny path. Lei Dongyuan nodded and said. Okay, please trouble the water saint. Immediately, Shui Qingling and others left the hall. After leaving the main hall far away. Have you determined the direction of the holy source of Thunder Dao ancestor? Shui Qingling suddenly asked. Behind her, Shui Jing nodded and said. It's confirmed, it should be on the side of Thunder Road Mountain. Ever since he entered the Pure Land of Thunder Dao, he had been trying to find the location of the holy source of Thunder Dao ancestor. The holy source of the Thunder Dao ancestor was the one that the Thunder Emperor snatched from the ancestors back then. Shui Qingling immediately took out 2 jade talismans. After lighting them, 2 people suddenly appeared at the scene. These 2 people were exactly the same as her and Shui Jing. Stand in. The 2 substitutes continued towards the palace prepared by Lei Ting for them. But their figures suddenly disappeared from the place and entered a certain state of secrecy. Actually, I can just do this myself. Elder Shui Diheng asked you to come. There is no need. Before leaving, Shui Qingling spoke. But Shui Jing said, destroying the holy source of Thunder Dao is a big matter, with multiple people and multiple powers. In fact, there was a hint of coldness in his eyes. The supreme elder who came to the Waterway Imperial Court this time was named Shui Diheng, and he was his ancestor. And the ancestor had already told him that this time, in addition to sending the detailed secret method of the path of parasitism to the Thunder Emperor, there was another extremely important thing. Destroy the holy source of thunder. Even though this matter was a top secret in the entire Waterway Imperial Court, only Shui Diheng knew about it, and Shui Qingling only received the task to carry out it, and did not know the intentions and plans of the higher UPS behind it. However, Shui Jing was Shui Diheng's most beloved descendant. Shui Diheng spent endless efforts on him, and even wanted to make him a holy son. Therefore, even though it was such a shocking secret, Shui Diheng told Shui Jing to let him seize this opportunity. The ancestor said that once the holy source of Thunder Dao collapses, Shui Qingling who performs the mission will become an abandoned son and a victim, and as long as I make a contribution in this operation, I can bring back enough things for the imperial court, I can take her place and become the holy son. There was a touch of expectation in his heart. Therefore, he must go with Shui Qingling. When the time comes, Shui Qingling will take the blame and he will take the credit, haha, who knows that he is related, he is the second generation. Shui Qingling frowned, but this was what Elder Shui Diheng meant, and she couldn't say anything, so she said, well, you must follow me closely along the way to avoid any accidents. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 1099. The Thunder Dome is vast, and the thunder clouds are numerous. An imperial throne stands on the endless heavenly palace, overlooking the entire Thunder Path Pure Land. At this moment, in front of the throne of the emperor, there were hundreds of the most powerful men, standing respectfully on both sides. In the middle, an old man wearing a blue water Taoist uniform came forward respectfully and said, report to the Thunder Emperor, this is the secret method of the path of parasitism. He presented an imperial talisman. On top of the emperor's talisman, it seemed like there was a vast ocean, sealed by the power of the emperor's way. The being on the imperial throne raised his hand slightly, and the imperial talisman immediately flew into his hand. The emperor's talisman sealed by the water emperor himself. The being on the throne whispered, he opened the emperor talisman and read the secret method in it. Only the great emperor can understand this secret method. A long time later. Abandon perception, comprehend the seed of Tao. The being on the throne whispered. Among them, it is about the method of lowering the path. Sealing the pure land, I will abandon my perception and place my path in the Tao of destiny. The being on the throne spoke. When descending to the Tao, even if you are an emperor, you have to cut off the connection with the outside world, enter the Tao scenery of Tianming Daizai, and use the Tao scenery of Tianming Daizai as the soil of rebirth to plant Tao seeds. Hearing this, the group of powerful men in front of the throne immediately dispersed. Then, Litu was sealed off and put under full martial law. At this moment, Duguyuking and the others had reached the foot of the mountain. At the entrance of this mountain, there is a huge stone tablet with 3 characters engraved on it. Lidao Mountain. Every stroke is like a terrifying thunder and lightning, exuding imperial power, making people want to worship at a glance. In fact, these 3 words were written by the Thunder Emperor himself. Lidao Mountain, even in the Lidao Pure Land, is a holy mountain and enjoys supreme status. Even, in a sense, this mountain is the foundation of the Thunder Road inheritance. No one has ever dared to step inside, they can only look up and worship from outside. The energy that permeates Lidao Mountain alone is enough to crush any creature that tries to get close. Not even powerful practitioners in the thunder path. What a strong arc. This place can be called a forbidden area. Thunder and lightning are everywhere, making it impossible to enter. Fan Peiming and Fan Yaoyao both spoke in shock. The power of thunder and lightning here is extremely terrifying, and even contains an imperial machine, far exceeding the previous thunder vulture. Zhuge Yuqing took a look and immediately took out 3 umbrellas. The 3 oil paper umbrellas were all taken from the small courtyard. Before leaving, Li Fan reminded him that a thunderstorm was coming, so remember to bring an umbrella. At this moment, Zhuge Yuqing vaguely understood the purpose. Master, he had really done everything. He handed the 2 umbrellas to Fan Yaoyao and Fan Peiming and said, "Walk." Fan Peiming and Fan Yaoyao looked at the oil paper umbrellas in their hands, feeling a little uneasy. Although this oil paper umbrella was given by my ancestor, it looks really ordinary. Is it reliable? Can it withstand the lightning strike containing the Thunder Emperor's energy? But Zhuge Yuqing had already held an umbrella and walked into the mountain calmly. The moment he entered, a terrifying arc of lightning struck at him. That kind of energy was almost like destroying the world. No matter how powerful the cultivator was, he couldn't resist it. However, the terrifying lightning arc disappeared immediately when it touched the oil paper umbrella. The oil paper umbrella didn't move at all. Seeing this, Fan Peiming and Fan Yaoyao were shocked. This oil paper umbrella is so cruel. Fan Peiming was so surprised that he opened his umbrella immediately and followed him immediately. As expected, the boss loves to act so much that even his things are pretending. Fan Yaoyao also said, "This oil paper umbrella is at least an emperor-level treasure." However, he pretends to be ordinary, and his style is exactly the same as that of the big boss. Immediately, the 3 of them entered all the way holding umbrellas. Holding oil paper umbrellas in hand, Fan Yaoyao and Fan Peiming found that their field of vision had actually become wider. Previously, the entire Leidao mountain was filled with lightning arcs and visibility was extremely low. Just under the oil paper umbrella, even the thunder path can't cover our eyes. Fan Peiming couldn't help but speak. On the Thunder Road mountain, there are many terrifying trees growing, all of them are born in the Thunder Road, and have their own thunder fields, making them difficult to approach. Every inch of space was filled with thunder and lightning power, capable of destroying all outsiders. However, the 3 of them were walking on flat ground at this moment, very relaxed. The ancestor holy source, the longevity ancestor doesn't know what it is, but he guessed that generally speaking, it is either hidden in the holy soil, or hidden in the water of thunder, or it is wood, or it is divine fire. Fan Peiming spoke. The ancestral holy source must be in Leidao mountain, but no one knows what it is, and they can only guess. But Leidao mountain is all shrouded in the aura of the holy source, and it seems difficult to determine. Huh? There's so much lightning ahead. Not far ahead, Fan Yaoyao spoke in surprise. There was an area in front of him, which was simply roaring with thunder. The true meaning of thunder seemed to have transformed into various rare and strange beasts. Even the rules of space cannot exist in that area. They approached with oiled paper umbrellas and avoided the dense thunder and lightning, and then they saw the scene clearly. That's a lot of land. Every piece of soil emits a blue light, like a blue gem, but those lights contain terrifying power. Such great divine power is actually just these pieces of earth. Fan Yaoyao spoke with some disappointment. Because, compared to those in small mountain villages, these soils are simply rubbish. However, Fan Peiming looked complicated and said, "Yaoyao, this soil is already very good." He is still very sober. Although this land is far inferior to that of a small mountain village, it is definitely a treasure, and it is urgently needed for the Fan family today. He gritted his teeth and said, "Ancestor, can I dig up all this soil?" Zhuge Yuqing glanced at him in surprise, Poaching him? This guy, does he like dirt so much? Just do whatever you want. Hearing this, Fan Peiming was overjoyed. He immediately started digging. After about half an hour, Fan Peiming was satisfied and wiped the sweat from his face. There is already a big hole at the scene. Not a single treasure was left behind, it was all put into the Taoist landscape. Duguyuking looked a little complicated. This Fan Peiming was a bit of a bandit. Are you satisfied? He asked. Fan Peiming said, I am satisfied, but there is a hole left here. Ancestor, please tell me, should I leave something behind? He was thinking about it. When Duguyuking heard this, he didn't know what he thought of, and couldn't help but said. Are you a big black dog? Or a little turtle? The big black dog and the little turtle have this kind of urine. After taking away good things, they often leave some good things for future generations. Fortunately, those two scammers didn't come. Forget it, I can't think about it, I can't think about it. Fan Peiming said happily. Ancestor, how did you know I was born in the year of dog? Except for Yao Yao, who is born in the year of cat, our ancestor Chang Shao, my father, and I are all born in the year of dog. The dance master once said that the dog has the longest lifespan and the best chance of survival, so our family chooses to have children in the year of the dog. This way, they will be blessed with good fortune and easy to feed. Duguyuking almost spit out a mouthful of old blood. It's actually really. Moreover, several generations of a family have been born in the year of the dog, so they choose to have children in the year of the dog. This is too doggy. Sure enough, when it comes to dogs, the morals are distorted. For a moment, he simply didn't know what to say. The descendants of his family were excellent. Let's go. He spoke, not wanting to think about the nasty things about the big black dog and the turtle. After a long time, outside Lidao Mountain. Lidao Mountain is really extraordinary. Shui Jing looked excited and said. This mountain contains the crystallization of Thunder Emperor's cultivation. If you can get it, that is an unimaginable opportunity. Shui Qingling took out 2 pieces of crystal clothing. The crystal clothing was gleaming with water and exuding ripples of the imperial path. While the Thunder Emperor has given up contact with the outside world, we must quickly enter and find the source of the ancestral saint. She spoke. If the Thunder Emperor wants to take the path of parasitism, they should have cut off all perception by now. Otherwise, just by being close to this mountain, they will definitely be in the eyes of the Thunder Emperor. After all, the entire Pure Land of Thunder Dao is under the watchful eye of Thunder Emperor. This mountain is the evolution of Thunder Emperor Dao and is extremely closely connected with Thunder Emperor. The two put on crystal clothes and walked into Lidao Mountain. Sizzle. As soon as he entered, an arc of lightning fell on the crystal coat. The Thunder Emperor is indeed terrifying. Even wearing crystal clothes, you can feel a slight numbness. Shui Qingling's heart became solemn, and she became a little worried. The higher you go, the more terrifying the power of thunder and lightning becomes. Whether this crystal coat can hold up, it's hard to say. They moved forward, but because the lightning arcs were too dense, it was difficult for them to see the road clearly and they walked slowly. Shortly after, there's such a strong thunder ahead. Shui Jing looked surprised and said. Couldn't this be the original soil of the Thunder Emperor in the realm of breath, right? Shui Qingling also looked solemn and said. Probably. It would be amazing if it really was. The original soil, which is the soil that was first solidified when the Thunder Emperor reached the realm of resting soil in his practice, can be said to be part of the origin of the Thunder Emperor and the cornerstone of the Pure Land of Thunder path. The entire world of Thunder Road may have originally originated from these soils. Wait for me here, I'll dig in. Shui Jing spoke excitedly, and then rushed in directly. He must have dug this kind of thing himself, and it would be a great achievement to dig it out. Shui Qingling frowned, but she didn't say anything. She stood there silently and waited, watching the wind for Shui Jing. Today, my car's tire was hit again. It cost thousands of dollars. I was so angry that I was half dead. Good night. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 1100. Thunder Emperor's Homeland, I'm coming. Shui Jing walked forward excitedly, and the surrounding thunder and lightning struck his crystal clothes, making a sizzling sound. But he couldn't care less. The origin soil of the Thunder Emperor is, in a sense, one of the foundations of the Thunder Way. If he can bring it back to the Waterway Imperial Court, he will definitely be qualified to be promoted to the Holy Sun. His eyes were full of anticipation and he rushed forward quickly. Suddenly, the blue lightning around him was so thick that he couldn't see his feet clearly. Suddenly, he felt that his feet were empty. His whole body was smashed down. Bang! I wipe it. Shui Jing fell into the pit and got up in embarrassment. He suddenly became angry and cursed. Damn, who is so wicked and has dug such a big hole here? He looked up and felt even more desperate. Maid, this pit is so deep. It's more than 10 meters high. More than 10 meters is nothing to a cultivator, but the key point is, now he is wearing a crystal coat. The crystal coat can isolate the thunder and lightning from the outside world, but he cannot release his own cultivation. Now, in a sense, he is just like ordinary people. But how can an ordinary person climb out of a pit more than 10 meters high? Holy lady, come and give me a hand. He suddenly became anxious and shouted loudly. However, the thunder power in Ladeo Mountain is too strong, and there are no spatial rules in this area, so no sound can be heard at all. Now, Duguyuking and the others have reached halfway up the mountain. Ahead, there's a lot of lightning coming again. Fan Peiming was surprised to find that a similar area appeared in front of him. Moreover, the lightning here is simply stronger than before. The three of them walked over and saw that there was actually a blue lake here. The lake was filled with azure liquid. Every drop of liquid contains rolling thunder, extremely violent. One drop can turn into 9-day thunder, destroying an area and destroying a continent. The quality of these liquids seems to be inferior to the water in the village's sewers. Moreover, there is a lot of electricity. Fan Yaoyao spoke. However, Fan Peiming's eyes lit up and he said, "What a good thing, this can probably lead to the Taoist scenery, allowing people to reach the realm of water repellents. After the soil is rested, there is the realm of opening up water, and the realm of opening up water requires opening up a spring of life in the land built of resting soil. General cultivation relies on finding the water of life from the outside world and incorporating it into it. Therefore, such a pool of water is tantamount to a supreme treasure for the masters of the 11 soil level, and it is the hope of advancement. Ancestor, can I take away all the water here?" Fan Peiming looked at Duguyuking eagerly. Duguyuking's expression was complicated. This guy really deserves to be a dog. He is simply a bandit. You can do whatever you want. Hearing this, Fan Peiming immediately stepped forward, opened the road scene, and started filling the water. A huge lake, filled with thunderous liquid, gradually bottomed out. After a long time, all the thunder liquid in this lake was filled by him. There is a lot of silt at the bottom of this lake. It is estimated to be 7 or 8 meters deep. It should be all good stuff. Fan Peiming was not satisfied yet. He stared at the mud at the bottom of the lake and wanted to take action. Duguyuking couldn't help it anymore and said, "Let's go quickly, that mud has no effect." Fan Peiming reluctantly moved on. Shortly after, they discovered a magical forest. The entire forest was shrouded under thunderclouds. It had electricity as its roots, thunder as its body, and the fruits of thunder, but it was pregnant with surging vitality. As we become more developed, when our tribe reaches the realm of living trees, they will most likely be able to plant these books into the Taoist landscape. Fan Peiming felt as if he had been given a shot of chicken blood. He said, "Ancestor, I'm going to pull out the tree." Then, he rushed over and started pulling out the trees, not even sparing the saplings, leaving a dense pile of pits in the area. "Sister, come and help me pull it out, my Dao Jingdi can hardly hold it anymore." While pulling out, Fan Peiming shouted loudly, "Oh, here I come." Fan Yao Yao also ran over. Dugu Yuking stood outside, watching this scene. The corners of her mouth couldn't help but twitch. "Bandits! And the rear? Why haven't you come out yet? Why have you been digging for so long?" Shui Qingling was a little confused. It took a little long for Shui Jing to go in. However, when she thought that it was probably the Taoist soil of the Thunder Emperor, she felt that there was nothing wrong with it, and it was normal to be careful and slow. "That's all, I'd better go help him," she whispered and walked in immediately. She didn't leave quickly because she didn't really want to come over. As a saint, she is as smart as ice and snow, so she naturally understands that the Supreme Elder Shui Diheng asked Shui Jing to follow him in order for Shui Jing to make contributions. She didn't want to ruin the old man's hard work. As a saint, she had nothing to ask for. She felt that these contributions were nothing to Shui Jing. Suddenly, while walking, she seemed to step on something. Then, she heard a scream. "Ah!" It was Shui Jing's voice. This voice feels like it's coming from underneath. She couldn't help but take a step back, pushing away the lightning in front of her eyes, and then she saw the scene in front of her. I saw Shui Jing smashed into a pit, wearing crystal clothes, now covered with dust. What a mess. "Junior brother Shui Jing, why are you in the pit?" But Shui Jing was very sad and angry, saying, "You're still asking me? I almost climbed out with great difficulty, and you stepped on my hand. Are you still human?" He couldn't shout even if he shouted, so he used all four limbs to crawl along the pit wall. After hard work, he finally climbed to the edge, but Shui Qingling kicked him, causing him to fall back into the pit again. Seeing this, Shui Qingling hurriedly took out a rope and said, "I'm sorry, junior brother Shui Jing, hurry up, I'll pull you up." After a lot of effort, Shui Jing was finally pulled up. "Junior brother, you have worked hard. You have dug so much soil. Your great contribution will be remembered when you return to the imperial court." Shui Qingling spoke sincerely. To be honest, looking at such a big pit, she couldn't help but look at Shui Jing with admiration. I usually see Shui Jing being pampered and aloof, but I never thought he could endure hardship so well and dig so cleanly. With this spirit of not being afraid of getting dirty or suffering, I will definitely be able to accomplish something in the future. When Shui Jing heard this, he was confused and said, "I didn't dig this. This place, there is no soil in the first place." He said, still a little angrily, and said, "I don't know what Lei Ting is doing here, leaving such a big hole, it's so despicable." When Shui Qingling heard this, she was startled for a moment, but then she understood. "Shui Jing, this is to protect yourself. Are you afraid that you will share his credit, so you simply refuse to admit that there is soil here?" She felt a little cold for no reason, but without saying anything, she immediately said, "Okay, let's keep walking." Immediately, they moved on. Not long after, they discovered another place shrouded in lightning. "Water vapor is steaming around here. Could this place be the water of life created by the Thunder Emperor when he was in the water realm?" Suddenly, Shui Jing spoke in surprise. "They practice the water path and are very sensitive to water vapor. It's unmistakable, This water vapor contains the essence of the imperial Dao. Even Shui Qingling, it was Emperor Zhengzhou who spoke. Wait for me here, I'll get it. Shui Jing couldn't help it anymore, spoke hurriedly, and rushed over. Shui Qingling wanted to say something, but she stopped. That's all, since he wants to take credit, let's give it to him. She shook her head. Shui Jing rushed over all the way. The surrounding water vapor was thick and thunder was everywhere, blocking his sight. However, he was not afraid. I have been misled before, but I will definitely not this time, because the water vapor is proof. Huh? The water vapor comes out from the front. His eyes were covered by lightning arcs, but he quickly determined that there should be a lake in front of him. You can feel that wetness. You can go in. In an instant, he rushed in. Jump into the lake of life, and then use the scenery to absorb the imperial water here. Huh? Why is there no water? He jumped, but he didn't feel the splash. Then, bang! His whole body penetrated hard into the mud. I'm special. He let out a loud shout, but before he could finish speaking, it was as if something had penetrated into his mouth and blocked it. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 1101. Lei Dao Pure Land, in a huge palace. The thunder liquid has been digested. Now, you can adapt to the power of thunder. Lei Dongyuan looked at Ao Wushuan and a group of Tianming Taoists, and said, "Please come into the pool." Immediately, a group of Tianming Taoists all entered the thunder pool. Suddenly, the power of thunder in the thunder pool boiled. So numb. Electricity flows throughout the body. This is the feeling. For a moment, a group of Tianming Taoists all let out cheers. But then, the power of thunder and lightning exploded, and many people began to cry. Don't want. Enough. I really don't want it anymore. Even after taking thunder liquid, the thunder and lightning at this moment still caused many people to suffer. In fact, 1 or 2 people were shocked directly by the lightning strike and fainted to death. But Ao Wushuan was a little confused. Why, I don't feel anything at all. The power of thunder and lightning even entered his own Dao scenery, but it immediately turned into nothingness. In his Taoist scenery, there is now a strange ancient lamp burning with dark fire, a 9-story black tower, 5 statues exactly like himself, and the dark energy in the land of nothingness. It's simply very complicated. After the thunder and lightning entered, it disappeared immediately without causing any waves at all. However, when he saw everyone howling, he thought for a moment and decided to follow suit. So that the problem is not discovered. Ouch, ouch, it hurts so much. That's howling. After a long time. Most people's bodies were filled with lightning. The clearing is complete, prepare to surrender. Lei Dongyuan opened his mouth and said, "Please, Thunder Emperor. These Destiny disciples have been washed clean in the Thunder Pool, and next, they can be used by the Thunder Emperor to inoculate them with the method of parasitism. Thunder Road Mountain. Thunder Dao Lava, this should be something needed for the Divine Fire Realm, right?" Fan Peiming and others discovered a large crack. The thunder aura was very violent and hot, and there was blue lava flowing in it. It looked extremely magical. Fan Peiming tried his best and rushed in, emptying out all the lava. After hollowing out the lava, they were close to the top of the peak, and then they discovered a staircase made of thunder gold. Fan Peiming demolished it as he walked, leaving nothing behind. Zhuge Yuqing was already numb when she saw Fan Peiming's behavior. Bandit. This Fan is a naked bandit. Every good thing in this mountain has been hollowed out by him. Fan Yao Yao followed Fan Peiming all the time, and she was so tired that sweat dripped down her face. "Ancestor, we are almost at the top, but it seems we still haven't found the source of the ancestral saint. Fan Yaoyao spoke. Although I dug up a lot of things along the way, they were not the source of the ancestors. It is far from reaching this level. Dugu Yuking suddenly raised his eyes, looked at the top of the mountain ahead, and said, "Found it?" He has already felt that the ancestral saint's source should be at the top of the mountain. Immediately, the three of them quickly stepped onto the top of the mountain. After reaching the top, they saw a terrifying thunder pond on the top of the mountain. This thunder pool is filled with the terrifying energy of the ancestral saint. Although it is not as good as that of a small mountain village, it is still amazing and very extraordinary. And above the thunder pool, there is a group of terrifying thunderbirds, flying around the thunder pool. When fluttering their wings, the power of the thunder path surges, making the void tremble, and it seems that it can destroy the world. Among the group of thunderbirds, the most terrifying one was as huge as an elephant. It used the ancestral source as its nest and lay in the nest with its wings covering it, almost blocking out the sky and the sun. These thunderbirds, are so terrifying. Fan Peiming spoke in shock. Any one of these thunderbirds, has reached a state that they cannot feel. There are many, many realms beyond the earth. Unthinkable. Even Dugu Yuking narrowed his eyes slightly. It's not easy to do. The gap between his cultivation level and these thunderbirds is really huge. Even the Suzaku in Daijingbi has not fully grown up yet. I am afraid that it will not be able to take down these thunderbirds. And these thunderbirds are entrenched in the entire thunder pool. If you want to take away the ancestral holy source in the thunder pool, you must pass the thunderbird level. Hoo. At this moment, this group of terrifying thunderbirds had also spotted the three of them, fluttered their wings and flew in front of them, bringing up terrifying hurricanes. If it weren't for the three people holding oil paper umbrellas, the wind generated by the flapping of their wings would have destroyed them. Gah! A thunderbird as big as an ox flew over, looked at them, and suddenly uttered human words in confusion. Why didn't my brother come? Hearing this, Fan Peiming and Fan Yaoyao were both a little confused. What brother? This thunderbird can actually talk, it has become a spirit. Dugu Yuking, however, remained calm and said calmly. There are distinguished guests coming to the Waterway Imperial Court. Your brother is too busy, so let us come. The thunderbird nodded, looked at the oil paper umbrellas of the three of them, and said. This oil paper umbrella is so scary, is it a relic of our ancestors? It can actually withstand the thunder here, it's amazing. Dugu Yuking nodded and said. Yes. The thunderbird's eyes were filled with admiration and he said. It seems that my brother has excavated another ruins of ancestors. Did other great emperors take action? Is my brother injured? As he spoke, there was a hint of worry in the bird's eyes. After hearing this, the three of them were suddenly shocked. This thunderbird, what does it mean? His brother, can he be compared with the great emperor? Could it be? A thought arose in their minds. No, other great emperors did not discover that ruins. Dugu Yuking remained calm. Thunderbird was even more delighted when he heard this and said. Okay. Fortunately, I didn't find out. Otherwise, even though my brother is the Thunder Emperor, he achieved enlightenment late in the world. Compared with those ancient emperors, it is difficult to have an advantage. If we really fight for it, he will probably suffer a loss. Hearing this, Fan Peiming and Fan Yaoyao were immediately shocked. The brother of this Thunderbird, is actually Thunder Emperor. This directly makes their scalp numb. The Thunder Emperor is actually not a human being, but a bird? The legends of our ancestors are actually true. When the ancestors created the world, in order to create the 4 seasons, they created some thunderbirds to serve as thunder. Fan Peiming remembered this legend. My brother asked you to come, but what's the matter? The thunderbird spoke excitedly and said. Is there anything gained from the ruins of the ancestors that needs to be shared with us? Duguyuking heard this and said. Yeah. Now, it seems that I can only bite the bullet and say it. What is it? The Thunderbird looked forward to it even more and said. Let me guess, what kind of sacred origin should my brother be sending here? Because, as Thunderbirds, they don't need other treasures, such as divine gold. Duguyuking felt that he was about to be defeated, his face was calm, but his heart was a little panicked, and he said. That's right, it's the divine origin. Thunderbird said. Take it out quickly and let me see. Duguyuking paused for a moment. At this moment, where could he get the sacred source? It's over. Fan Peiming and Fan Yao Yao next to them had sweaty palms and their hearts were pounding. At this critical moment, Duguyuking suddenly had a change of thought. No matter what, try your best to treat a dead horse as a living horse doctor. He gritted his teeth, then took out some bottles and jars and said. This is what the Thunder Emperor asked us to bring. When Fan Peiming and Fan Yao Yao saw this scene, they were instantly shocked and so nervous that their hearts almost jumped out. Because what Duguyuking took out was actually chili noodles, pepper powder, cumin. What the hell is this? Good night.